Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast, and of course, Aurora Weather, the second largest city's first daily weather report. The weather comes from the National Weather Service of Chicago, as always, delivered to you here on Good Morning Aurora. Today is Tuesday. Let's get into these temperatures. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Haven't given you the weather. I know you want it. Today, daytime high of 91 degrees. Daytime low of 85 degrees. An overwhelmingly sunny day today with a little bit of clouds. Now, I got a humdinger for you. Are you ready for it? Here it comes. Look at this tonight. 66 degrees for the nighttime high, 55 degrees for the nighttime low. Severe thunderstorms are coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to get crazy tonight. I like severe thunderstorms, so I'm looking forward to it. Tomorrow, Wednesday, 78 degrees for the daytime high, 73 degrees for the daytime low. A breezy day tomorrow with a whole lot of sun on Wednesday. Now, Wednesday night, 59 degrees for the nighttime high, 52 degrees for the nighttime low. A clear night on Wednesday night. Going into Thursday, 81 degrees for the daytime high, 78 degrees for the daytime low on Thursday. Not a lick of clouds in the sky, cooler near the lake. A nice sunny day on Thursday. Thursday night, 61 degrees for the nighttime high, 55 degrees for the nighttime low. 85 degrees on Friday. Now, what do you notice about these temperatures? Look at all that sun in the daytime. If you barbecue, send a brother a plate. Friday, 85 degrees for the daytime high, 81 degrees for the daytime low. Thunderstorms we have a potential for Friday evening thunderstorms. As you can see when we make the transition, the nighttime, 63 degrees for the nighttime high, 57 degrees for the nighttime low. Stormy night on Friday. Going into Saturday, 82 degrees for the daytime high, 75 degrees for the daytime low. Let's recap. Today, 91 degrees for the high, 85 for the low. Tomorrow, 78 degrees for the daytime high, 73 degrees for the daytime low. Thursday, 81 degrees for the daytime high, 78 for the low. Friday, 85 degrees for the daytime high and 81 degrees for the daytime low. And Saturday, 82 degrees for the high, 75 degrees for the daytime low. That is your weather report here on Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. We have a fantastic show and episode for you today. We have Brendt Jimenez, dear friend of the show, here to talk about Hesed House. So get ready, stay tuned, let's do it. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9:03 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. We have a great show and a great guest today. My personal friend Brendt Jimenez is here from the Hesed House. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on, man.
Good to
Appreciate
see you,
it.
man. Good to see you. Daniel Calderon, good morning to you. Joe Jackson, good morning. Elizabeth Torres, good morning to you. And Carolee May Bryan, good morning to you guys as well. So a lot of people are familiar with the Hesed House here in town. Been doing a lot of good work for a number of years. What's your role at the Hesed House, and how long have you been there?
Sure. I've been at Hesed House for a little over 2 years now. I'm working on my third year right now. My role right now is I am a triage case manager.
Okay.
And what that sort of is I'm working sort of the first line of encounter with the guests that come into come into our case management offices. So they'll come in, let me know what they need, and I'll direct them to the case managers, just based on their needs. So certain case managers are really good at working with them on certain things. So I direct them to the right case manager for the job.
Okay, all right. And we're coming up to your third year.
Yeah, third year now. Yeah.
All right. Now, did you start off as a case manager?
No, I started out. I worked in the shelter. I was the shelter staff. Worked in the men's and the women's. Did that for about 1.5 years. Moved up to women's shelter supervisor.
Okay.
And then from there, moved up to case management, trying that out. So
Okay.
it's been really good.
Now, spoiler alert, you and I actually know each other outside of just our jobs and everything. So I'd like to say that you've been, man, I've seen like your dedication and progression as you've been at Hesed House. So it really does feel good. I know that you were working and then you and I saw each other one day at an event at the at Wabanzi Community College.
Yeah.
Which was my first time actually seeing you out representing Hesed House and everything too, after becoming case manager. So kudos, man.
Yeah,
kudos.
that was my first sort of networking event. Just to kind of my case management supervisors, director were encouraging me to attend those events.
Right.
Try to do some networking, get comfortable with that sort of work, and just learn about other programs in the area that can help out our guests.
Okay. Now, Hesed House does a lot in the community. Are there ways for people to get involved? What can people do to get involved or support Hesed House?
Sure. They can go to hesedhouse.org.
Okay.
There's a listing of opportunities for either volunteering or donations. It kind of points out the current needs of the guests.
Okay.
Also, there is actually an event that we're going to be in. Let's see. It's the Solstice Century Ride. The Solstice Century Ride on June 21st. It's benefiting Hesed House and other local charities. 100 people are riding 100 miles in one day.
Really?
Yeah. If they want to learn more, they can go to hesedhouse.org. They'll have more information in there. Also, our Division Director of Development, Lauren Jernigan, will be writing, so you can cheer her on. There will be food, music, and music from Oranmore in Oswego.
Okay.
Yeah, there's more details on the Hesed House website.
Okay. Can you send that flyer to her brother? So
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, bike riding? Motorcycles?
I'm not
Dirt bikes?
100% sure. Maybe horses, maybe carriages.
Rollerblades?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with it, but then more information will be on the website.
Okay. So so with the with the work that you've been doing at Hesed House, what other organizations does Hesed House partner with? For as you know, because you've been listening to the show and been a fan for a long time, a lot of organizations tune in.
Yeah.
So are there what ways does Hesed House work with other nonprofits and organizations to meet the needs of folks?
Yeah, we partner with a couple different other organizations. Mutual Ground is one of them.
Okay.
We have a counselor that comes in, has an office two counselors actually that come in to help some of our guests with some mental health stuff. We also have a counselor from AID, Association for Individual Development, that's there daily to help out our guests. We also have, her name is Natalie Broom. I think that's a correct last name. I apologize if that's wrong. But she also, another counselor, mental health, helps out guests there. I know we're partnered also with, we've helped out like Neighbor Project, as you know. We work together with that. A handful of other ones, I'm sure, but those are the ones that kind of like that I most interact most with: AID, Mutual Ground, Neighbor Project.
Okay. In your time working, what have you learned? What have you learned that you didn't know before?
Oh man,
I've been learning too in my job things that I didn't know before.
Yeah,
in the nonprofit world,
the biggest thing I've kind of learned, and you think that this is kind of a given, but the homeless population, they're human. They're human just like the rest of us. I do remember, unfortunately, before I started working at Hesed, I did kind of look down on the homeless population for the situation that they're in. But since working with them, I've kind of realized that they're just like, they're no different than like us.
Right.
The only thing kind of separating them is just kind of a support system. Like these people did not, they either have had a lot of trauma in their lives, be it from mental health or from anything else, and that's kind of happened. Excuse me. But that's the only thing really kind of separating that population from the house population is just they don't have a support. They didn't grow up with a support structure. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the resources that maybe other people have had.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they're just it's regular people living their regular lives, just trying to get by, trying to be happy, trying to survive.
Right.
So there's no difference. It's just it's just like that. Like we're all human.
Right. Yeah. So the reason why I asked that is because what I learned that I didn't know before, like joining the Neighbor Project and working and involving myself in housing for people, was that like people may have that look about people who are unhoused and feel a certain type of way about them, but for a large part of the population, mm-hmm. it's really only a few paychecks away from that type of situation.
Absolutely.
Like for a lot of people, if dad or someone gets injured and can't work, that reality comes ever closer. Mm-hmm. And when you realize that, and you look at just national statistics and things like that, you kind of get an understanding. Like we should be humble and try to do what we can for people, because like a lot of people in America are just a few steps away or lacking those resources to take care of themselves properly.
Right.
Properly. The time is 9:13. Good morning to you, Olga Muro Garza and Johnny Felix. Good morning. Elizabeth Diaz and Karen Whitney says, "Go Brent."
Thanks, Karen.
All right. Now, what's what's next in your journey with Hesed House?
I mean, I feel like I've sort of found my calling with Hesed. This is the first time I've ever done working with them ever done any type of social work. Mm-hmm. My background with any sort of work has always been like retail, restaurants, banking, like that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And since I've started doing this type of work, it's been just life changing. It's sort of changed my whole perspective on life, how I view the world, how I feel more confident in myself. I feel like I'm doing good. So it's just moving forward. Like I'm constantly growing, mm-hmm. learning, finding out new things to learn, new ways to help. So the goal is just to keep helping, in whatever form that takes. So right. whatever I feel like is I can do the best whatever I feel like is the best way for me to help others is sort of the path I'm going to keep trying to walk.
Yeah, sometimes the best people who do this kind of work are the people who were never doing it before. You know what I'm saying? It's more like, it's more your perception that could take you further than like perhaps your credentials.
Right.
Being credentialed, of course, is important, but I mean, having a heart for the work is way more important. There's a lot of people who got degrees, but
yeah, there are people that can be very educated in the type of work and mental health, drug and alcohol like counseling. But if you can know the work on paper, but when you're not, once you get in, get into like the nitty gritty of everything.
Right.
Like that's when you're really tested to see if you can handle it.
Absolutely.
And that's what Hesed looks for is people that are not just being educated in the role or how to help, but also like, are you comfortable working with this population?
Right.
Can you handle it? Can you be called to serve? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. What's it like working for Joe Jackson?
It's really great. He's been very supportive my whole career there. All of my supervisors have been actually very supportive. There was a couple, like early in my sort of career stay there, I was having some difficulties personally, but they supported me and helped me get through it. Their outlook was, if we're helping the guests, why can't we help our employees?
Right.
So there was consistent support, constant. I've reached out to Joe, on some rough days and just said, hey, like, I need to talk. Do you have a minute just to kind of like listen to me vent for a bit, and then you listen, offer advice, and it's a really supportive, like, it's a really supportive structure. It's a really supportive organization.
Right. So there's and has been a lot of great news. So in addition to what Brent's been telling us about his experience working there, Hesed House, AID, and the Neighbor Project were able to secure the building at 552nd Avenue on Aurora's east side, right next street over from Waldo, for affordable workforce development housing, which is going to be a fantastic and very ambitious project.
Yeah.
That's going to change a lot of lives. The number of apartments, 2s, 3s, and 1s escapes me at the moment, but it recently was approved by the board of IDA, Illinois Housing Development Agency. So in the very near future, more opportunities for housing, safe housing and affordable housing for the workforce population will be available. On the national level, and perhaps in the Aurora level, it's a drop in the bucket, but it is a step in the right direction, very much so. I like working with Hesed House. I like working with all of our organizations, AID. Time is 9:17. But here's a question I got, and it's not a yes or no. It's kind of a how you feel question. What's the importance of leading with empathy in our work?
So, excuse me.
Yeah, can we get some water for Brent? Makeup. We don't even have makeup.
The importance of leading with empathy, I feel, is you're never really going to know someone's struggle or know how to really help somebody until you can kind of put yourself into their shoes. The more easily that comes to you to like really kind of think like, okay, like, what if this person needs help? Let me try to get myself into their mindset and figure out what we can do. Also, it kind of helps you understand and be a little bit more patient with them. Because we've all had bad days, right? A lot of the people that are homeless in the shelter, outside, like sort of sleeping outside, it's like this is like probably like their worst period in their life. This is going to be like the worst time in their life that they're kind of going through. So like, we think about, we have like maybe 1 or 2 bad days. They're having like a bad week. They're having a bad month. They're having a bad year.
Right.
And the more you kind of just think like, you kind of put yourself in like put yourself into their head and think, they are struggling. They are hurt right now. It kind of gives you a better perspective on how to, again, like how to help them, how to handle like any sort of outbursts they have. The big thing we kind of, we're kind of told at Hesed is, don't take things personal.
Right.
We've had, I've had bad interactions with some guests there, and then like an hour, maybe a day later, like we're, it's back to normal. Like everything's kind of like on a short like time horizon. So things that might be bad, like it's going to be forgotten or forgiven, later on. And honestly, like, saying sorry, especially if, we mess up, is always a big help. But yeah, the empathy is kind of the big core of it. It's like if you can connect, if you can empathize with them and their struggle, it's going to make you kind of understand the situation a lot easier.
Yeah, when I So before I was, fortunate enough to join Neighbor Project and do the kind of work that we do, which again is different from Hesed House work, but our server, what we're doing overlaps. I remember I used to work at a liquor store a long time ago, and this guy told me he was going to kill me when I left, and I didn't die. But the next day he comes in like nothing happened, and I remember like, I'm ringing him up and everything, and I remember like it's just on me like I should like say, and I was like, yo, you don't remember what you said to me yesterday? He was like, yeah, I remember. He was like, man, I was just hungry, man, and I was just tired of it.
Yeah.
And I got it. Like I got it so much where I was like, you know what? Because I'm tired of it too sometimes with life, and it's how you deal with it when you are tired or you are upset or you are scared or you are lonely.
Right.
Don't take it personal.
Right.
It's like I actually am blessed, so I should bless him. You know what I'm saying? It's like I understood that.
Yeah.
And it actually made what I'm doing now a lot easier to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm able to put myself, even if for that moment, in that person's shoe. Somebody's about to be kicked out of their apartment. Somebody's about to be evicted. Somebody's worried about, they had down payment money, now they don't. Like there's a lot of things that can happen with the individual, and the way that we treat them and work with them, it could mean everything to them.
Sure.
It really could. All right, the time is 9:21 a.m. Tracy Duran, good morning to you. She says, yay, it's Brendt. Ibrahim Briones, good morning to you. Josh Myers, good morning, dear brother. Nick DeCrane says, Brent. April Alluro, Gwen, and Vanessa Hernandez says, Brent, we love you. And so does Miss D. Bird.
Oh, Dee, yeah.
Dee. Elizabeth Diaz. Brent, you got some fans
a lot of those
out
are
there. Stacey
co-workers at the
Cardona,
shelter.
good morning. No, you've got a fantastic team. So shouts out as well to the team of Hesed House and all the events that I've taken part in at the facility. We've been welcomed, so it really feels good. So right now, we're in another opinion question. What can we do to solve the housing issue in Aurora? I know this may be a little bit out of our pay grades.
Sure.
But we work at the place where it's happening. So what do you think? What do we need to do? What would you like to see? What can help?
A big thing is affordable housing. Housing that's more easily accessible to people that are maybe working minimum wage jobs, or even like subsidized housing where you pay a certain percentage until you kind of get back on your feet. We have some programs like that where we're given grants to sort of help pay for somebody's rent.
Sure.
And then once they're stable, back on their feet, we'll kind of like wean them off the program until, and it works. Getting people into housing and then working on case management stuff, whatever issues they might have is way easier than having to do it, in a shelter.
Yes.
Making it easier to access mental health services, because again, like a lot of these barriers that are preventing people from getting stable and getting housed, if we can kind of tackle those symptoms or those problems, it'll make it easier. So more mental health professionals that are willing to work with people on Medicaid.
Right.
There are some. There could always be a lot more. Making it easier to get like medication that's needed, getting access to health care. Coming back to it, like just more affordable housing. Like it's tough to find an apartment even or a house to rent or without having to all these hurdles you have to jump through. Like there's a lot of places that require you to, even if you can make the monthly rent, they want you to put
like three times
like security deposit, or make 3 times like the income, and God, I remember I lived in the 2000 West Illinois apartments. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath was maybe like $800, and now it's probably
$1150, something like that.
If
12,
even that, probably like 13, 14.
Right.
And I understand that people that own these properties have to try to make some money, but like it just seems excessive right now. Like I feel like somebody working a minimum wage job full time should be able to afford a basic one bedroom
place-
apartment, maybe a studio,
place to
even,
live,
a place to
live.
shelter.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely. No, they should. So I've met. There's a gentleman by the name of Mark Kaplan, I believe his name is, and State Representative Barbara Hernandez and others are attempting to do things at the state level which could have an impact on tenant rights and availabilities and things like that. There's a lot to it, and we'll perhaps have another discussion on that some other day. But no, I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on that because of all the things that you and I have talked about in our history before there ever was a Good Morning Aurora.
Sure.
You were there before there was. We go way back.
Way back. Yeah.
In all the things that we've talked about and been discussing, there are ways to help people that are not exploitive, that can help them, but it's also not just feeding them for the rest of their lives. That will help them to climb ladders.
Right.
You know, it is possible to become a homeowner for these people, but we have to start where they're at and help them and make sure that they're housed, even if it does mean renting for them, and that they shouldn't be exploited. They should be able to. If you are working, you should be able to have lodging. You should be able to. There's a program called ALICE. 926 is the time. Last little bit with this, but there's a program called ALICE, Asset Limited, Income Constrained but Employed, which is a program from the Fox Valley United Way. It does a lot to help folks who are working find homes. There's a lot to it. I encourage you guys to check that out on the Fox Valley United Way's website. It's called ALICE. Once again, ALICE, Asset Limited, Income Constrained but Employed. All right, time is 9:26 a.m. Andrea Nicole, good morning. Stacy says, yes, so right about mental health and housing. Absolutely. Joe Jackson, preach, Brent, housing. Absolutely.
Really quick, I do want to say with
no
those
doubt.
types of programs too, like I feel like once if we can kind of show that these programs really do succeed and help people, I think that eventually will like help show like policymakers, help to show lawmakers that hey, this actually does work. You know, instead of just kicking somebody off of the street when they're bothering, if they're bothering somebody or asking someone to leave a park bench, like instead of getting mad at them, like no, help them find a place. And
Exactly.
and if once these programs kind of show how well they actually do work, I think hopefully it will take off a little bit more and show like, hey, this is the way to go. Like the way we've been doing it's been wrong all along. Hey, there's a better way to do it. Let's do this.
Right. All right, 9:27 is the time right now, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for Good Morning Aurora. I want to say thank you once again to Brent for coming on to the show. Thank you very much to the Hesed House, Joe Jackson, and all the great work that you guys are doing. Right about now, Buenos Dias Aurora is going to start. We are going to go to a commercial, and that's the end of Good Morning Aurora. Good Morning Aurora and Buenos Dias Aurora are now 5 days a week. Buenos Dias Aurora is from 9:30 to 10. So get ready to go over to the Facebook page of Buenos Dias Aurora. Maria Banuelos, hashtag Homes with Maria, is the Tuesday morning host of Noticias con Maria. She has exciting information for our community and helpful information as well. Be blessed. Take care of yourself and each other.
Imagine what's possible when a city makes an unprecedented investment. A commitment that reshapes a city's landscape forever. That equalizes economic opportunity, elevates education for all, empowers businesses, inspires collaboration between institutions, improves public services, and enhances the lives of every resident. Now, imagine that city is ours. We know it's possible because other cities have done it. Places like Longmont, Colorado, a community that leveraged its investment in municipal electricity and upgraded its substations to create a 17-mile fiber loop, delivering critical connectivity to the city's institutions, organizations, and small businesses, achieving an incredibly high adoption rate. And in Pharr, Texas, a border town of 80,000, voted the least connected city in America, invested in 700 miles of fiber, delivering broadband managed services that are enriching residents' lives. Cities, towns, and regions are stepping up all over America. There is no question that Aurora can and deserves to be America's next great smart city. But it's up to us. We have a responsibility we can't ignore to see everyone living in our city, regardless of economic status, having broadband services that are simple, efficient, safe, and powerful. Imagine children having safe internet access anywhere, never needing to connect outside of a fast food restaurant. Imagine every building in every neighborhood and retail outlet, new and old, modernized, intuitive, secure. Imagine exciting subscribers with the ultimate broadband experience and giving parents control over all of it. Imagine deploying cyberbullying protection that notifies parents throughout Aurora that their kids are being bullied and providing resources to protect them. Imagine a city with first responders seamlessly connected and with safer public spaces. Can you see this smart city? Can you see our future? We do. Aurora is ready for world-class connection that serves our residents, that helps businesses grow and unifies our community. Let's take this opportunity to give all of our residents, businesses, and community organizations the advantages that come with unrivaled broadband infrastructure and services. Let's come together and deliver a world where digital equity creates a city that is smarter, safer, and sustainable for generations to come.
Not your bank's top priority? Here at Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. No hidden fees or runarounds, but a true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. Whether you're opening your first account, found your dream home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have the financial solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank. Wintrust, different approach, better results.